Hello, everyone. It has been an absolute age since I've done a live stream, probably about 4 months. I thought I'll just pop my head back in, see how you guys are all doing. I'm going to tell you in this quite short live stream, I'd expect it to be, what I've been experiencing in the local property market in my part of North Essex. I'm going to let you know the trends that I've been experiencing, what has been selling, what hasn't been selling, the type of volume of transactions we've been doing, and also most importantly what I'm seeing with house prices in my small part of the world. So if that is something that you want to hear more of, I'm going to be looking to do more of these live streams like I did last year, keeping you up to date with what's going on, what I'm experiencing in the UK property market. Then please hit subscribe. I'm going to try and get a usual date like I did last year, of a weekly live stream. But for now, they're going to be quite up and down, up in the air. But let's get into what I'm experiencing. So since our last live stream, which I think was back in February, and if you joined us then, we weren't quite sure what was gonna happen in the UK property market, and a lot has happened in the last couple of weeks, let alone the last 4 months. We've had house price indices showing losses, as in decreases in house prices, with the occasional increase, a very small increase. And we've had the Office of National Statistics, and sorry, the Land Registry, sorry, they've finally getting to grips with getting some data out there, which is showing steady decline in house prices. However, I believe the last month's one, correct me if I'm wrong, actually showed a slight increase in house prices. So I doubt next month will stay the same, but sorry, I doubt next month's will show an increase as well. But that's the interesting thing about the UK property market, is that it's so hard to predict, and anybody who pretends that they know what's going to happen is an absolute lie, which I'm sure you've heard me say a lot of times on this live stream. Hello, Planet Pokewood. Wow, a blast from the past. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining me on a Sunday evening. So a lot's happened. And we're not sure quite what's going to happen with interest rates. Mortgage rates is almost certainty to keep going up. They've really increased again the last few weeks. I think what I experienced is after the mini budget, when we had the huge increase in interest rates for banks, the market took a couple of months to sort of settle and get used to this new normal of high interest rates, which I believe people thought they would start coming down. I for one, thought that they would start to come down again when inflation got a little bit more in underhand, not underhand, in hand, not underhand. But yeah, we've seen our bank, the Bank of England, having to raise interest rates a lot more aggressively more recently compared to other like the US, for example. So it's taken its toll on the banks, and it's taken its toll on people who need a mortgage in order to buy. So we've had interest rates go up a hell of a lot, and the banks the last couple of weeks have started to increase them yet again, after they started to come down for a few, 2-3 months. I believe they were having small drops. But after the inflation figures a couple of weeks ago, they and the Bank of England putting up the interest rate by 0.5%, they started to withdraw products and then put them up or replace them with higher interest products. So, but what I want you guys to obviously understand is the mortgage rates which the press are advertising, as in the average rate is over 6%, 6.5%. This is where it's very important for you guys to speak to an independent mortgage broker, because that figure may be based on a 95% mortgage over X amount of years. So when you are thinking of getting a mortgage, speaking to a mortgage broker who will place you with the right lender that meets your exact needs. So don't listen to the media in terms of what the rate is. Oh, I can't get a mortgage because they're 6.5%. If you've got a decent deposit, then you won't be paying that sort of sort of interest rate. That's just the average. I don't think many media outlets actually tell you what criteria they put in to get that figure. So I mean, if you're lucky enough to have a 30-40% deposit, then your rate's going to be a hell of a lot cheaper than that. You're going to be in the fours, which I'm told is probably where we're going to be looking. 3 and 4% is probably what the new average mortgage interest rate will look like whenever we get out of this turmoil. But yeah, so we've had a lot of ups and downs over the last year. Obviously, interest rates started to go up before the mini budget, or certainly inflation did before the mini budget. So, but the last sort of 8 months has been very, very tough for the property market. But what I've been experiencing in North Essex, if any of you guys are purchasing a property around the South Suffolk border, North Essex sort of area, we were, as a recap from last year, we were quite concerned after Christmas as to how the property market was going to react to the mini budget, what people were going to do. And the first couple of weeks in January were very, very, very quiet. But then out of nowhere, the second half of January went really, really well. We made up for lost time and managed to recoup a lot of sales. And that it's been for my agency in particular, and I can see what other agents are selling in the area, but for my office, and the guys in what we're selling, is we're doing pretty well. Not as good. I'm not going to sort of paint a picture here that we're selling the same amount of houses as we did last year. Although some months this year we have sold the same, not more, but the same as this time last year. But it has been tougher, but it hasn't been as bad as we were expecting. And my area is known for, what's it known for? A lot of people looking to retire to, but we're also a very affordable part of the southeast of England. So we do have a lot of first-time buyers who look to buy their first home in my area. And that is, we've always got a steady flow of people looking to move. The demand for moving to my area has always been high. Even in the 2007, 2008 sort of price crash and credit crunch, we always had a strong supply of people who wanted to move. But what we're finding at the moment is the sentiment is there for wanting to move, but the ability has been hampered by the interest rate. So we have a lot of people who tend to downsize to where I am. They sell their family home and buy a smaller house or a smaller bungalow in my area. And there's a lot of people who are on the market who want to move, who have potentially found somewhere through me and other agents, which have not sold their property because their buyer will require a mortgage, and those people are few and far between at the moment. So there is the demand for people wanting to move, whether it's debt, divorce, or death. There are always people who need to move, but it's the ability to move. That's the word I'm looking for. The ability to move and to pay prices or to buy a property has been hindered by the interest rates and the whole cost of living. The whole cost of living has made people think, well, can I put that on hold for a bit and see if house prices, or sorry, to see if the cost of living eases, then may I be looking to move to a different property. But we're finding a lot of people still are wanting to move, and it is the interest rates that is stopping them, but not everyone. Not everyone. We've sold quite a few properties this year to first-time buyers. Now, whether that's because they have high deposits, whether that's from saving during the pandemic, whether it's help from parents or grandparents or what have you, there is still a steady flow of first-time buyers who are starting off chains, but just nowhere near as many as there were in the last, or in the pandemic era. Era? Is it long enough ago to say era yet? I don't think it is. But there are still people moving. This isn't a live stream and if you've watched my live streams before, you'll know that I don't pretend that everything's okay in the property market. When it's good, I'll tell you. When it's bad, it's bad. But this is quite specific to my area. The next biggest town or city next to me might be experiencing completely different. That's 10 miles down the road. But I can only tell you what I'm experiencing, and it isn't as bad as some media outlets are making out. But that may be completely different to what you're experiencing. So if you are watching the live stream or on the replay, let me know where you are in the country. what your first-hand experience is of what's happening. Now, I know a lot of you guys are going to be seeing lots of new instructions or new properties coming onto the market and a lot of reductions. And I'm experiencing it here as well. Yeah, yeah. You go added in the last 24 hours on Rightmove and you're inundated with reduced, 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 or newly listed, newly listed. Yeah, it's completely done a 180 to what it was during the pandemic, where there was loads of buyers and not many properties. Now there's loads of properties and not as many buyers, and that has really put the power generally in you if you are a purchaser watching this hand. And you can use the amount of new houses on the market, the amount of reductions that are happening every day to your advantage when you are offering. And I will probably do a video or a live stream on how to offer on a house in a buyer's market, because that is what we are in. Make no mistake. If you're a seller watching this, make no mistake. It is a buyer's market. When buyers have choice, they have the power. When the vendors hold the power is when the buyers don't have a lot of choice. So that's what we're going to be sort of going over the next few weeks in terms of if you're a seller looking to sell and some advice on that. And if you're a buyer looking to buy, then yeah, you can hear firsthand experience from an unbiased estate agent, which although sounds wrong, doesn't it? But I'm here to help first-time buyers because there is really no one else out there who will help you buy your first home. All right. So if you are interested in getting in touch, then all you need to do is drop me an email, lee@leeeverettproperty.co.uk, and I can give you some help, advice. We can have a phone call, have a chat, and ask any questions that you may have. So if you are interested in a one-on-one, completely free, if you want to have a chat or a WhatsApp, then get in touch with me, and we can certainly have a little discussion about your property search and how I can help with that. So if you are watching, if you could please hit the like button as well, that'd be amazing. Every like that we get helps the live stream get out to more people. And because I haven't done one for a long time, it would really help. It would really help. I started doing so well with these every week, getting, I think we've got 2,500 subscribers, which is amazing. I never experienced that at all. Never thought I'd get to that when I first started this channel 2.5, 3 years ago. So I'm really, really pleased. So if we can keep this momentum going, that'd be great. But yeah, we have sold a lot of houses. We've probably sold, what are we? Yeah, we're probably about 45 houses more than our nearest competition. And what I want to accredit that to is not only being a great salesman and taking great photos, is also we are taking on properties which are priced correctly. And if you are a seller who happens to be watching this, then I can't stress this enough. Your marketing price is so crucial right now that even if you're a smidgen more than what the estate agent is suggesting, and I know some estate agents are still valuing like it's 2 years ago, but the good agents, the agents that want to get you sold, are giving you realistic prices, and it may not align with what you, the seller, wants. But if you need to sell, you need to listen to the estate agent. And if you're getting an estate agent through your front door, or you've picked 1 or 2 estate agents, then listening to them, because you've obviously picked them for a reason, whether they've sold the most, you trust them, recommendations, reviews, whatever it is. But listen to what they have to say. Get them to provide you with comparable properties that they've sold recently, and price your property correctly. I'm not talking about undervaluing it, like some people are saying, put it on the market for 20% less, get sold now. You don't need to do that. If you price right now, you will sell. And that's what we're experiencing. The houses we're selling within 2-3 weeks are properties that we've taken on for the right price. And we've got people who have viewed and offered and bought. The ones that have come on the market for too much money are the ones that aren't selling. It's as simple. It is black and white. It is really black and white. So if you're a seller looking, then definitely price your property correctly. Don't be biased that your property is the best in the road or whatever. Price correctly, because buyers, you guys who are watching this channel, you're not stupid. There's a lot of information out there that can tell you what previous properties have sold for. You can speak to other agents, other people buying properties. You can compare to what they're buying, what they're got sales agreed at as well. So yeah, definitely if you're a seller, price correctly. And I think that's what I've attributed to our success this year, which I'm going to call it a success because the shitstorm that followed after the mini budget, no one knew what was going to happen. And yeah, yeah, there's a lot of people quaking in their boots that the property market could crash and agents going under and losing jobs, etc. And from my town at the moment, that just hasn't happened. But we're valuing correctly. We're losing out on some. We're losing out on a hell of a lot of sellers who are pricing too high, which is fine. If they want to go and waste other estate agents' money and on marketing, etc., and not sell, that's absolutely fine. But we're taking on properties that are priced right, that buyers are going to want to buy, and that is why we are smashing, absolutely smashing the competition in terms of house sales this year. And I really believe that's going to continue for the rest of the year. But yeah, sellers, if you're watching, price correctly, you'll sell. If you're not priced correctly, you're not going to sell. It's as simple as that. As simple as that. Oh, sorry, I had a little moment. Let me have a swig of drink. I've got beer in the fridge, but I was a little bit behind schedule with the live stream. So there we go. That's better. So viewings as well have been pretty consistent over the last 4 months, 4 or 5 months. People are out there viewing, but we are experiencing that people are viewing are ones that are either on the market or not on the market yet. Majority of the people are on the market. They want to be sold, but they just haven't sold yet. And yeah, it's just so different to the last couple of years. So if you've been looking to buy a property for a couple of years, you would have experienced the the hurricane of the market during the pandemic, where there were 5 or 6 people for every property. Now there's 5 or 6 properties for every buyer. So it's really gone 180. So yeah, we've done all right. We've done all right, and hopefully the rest of the year will continue on that same plateau. But if you are a buyer looking to buy, you've got to do your research. If you're on the fence about buying, my advice from how long ago? I think it might have been September last year. I think it was September last year. Is if you can afford to buy a property, you can see yourself living there for a number of years, and you're not paying too much for it, then there's no reason not to buy. If you know you're going to be comfortable paying your mortgage for the next 5 years or 10 years, whatever fixed term you decide to go through, and there's very little risk of you having to move, then theoretically there's no reason not to buy, because the general trend of house prices over the long term is that they go up, and no one will disagree with that. No one. If anybody does disagree with that, then they can't look at basic graphs. So, and each month you are paying a mortgage, you are paying into a savings account. Yes, a savings account that you can't actually get money out of easily unless you remortgage, but nonetheless, it is a savings account. It's not money wasted. Now, some people see renting as wasted money because you're not paying off a mortgage or a debt, or not paying into something that's your own. But if you're lucky enough to have cheap rent at the moment, I say cheap, everywhere is expensive to rent, but if your landlord hasn't put your rent up for a number of years, then I'd be saving money as fast as I can, saving that money, putting it aside. If you know your rent should be £200-300 more than what it is, and you can afford to save, because it will come at some point, whether the landlord puts the rent up to what it should be, or you do decide to look for a property, mortgage repayments are a lot more, which is why landlords are also increasing their rents or even selling completely. So I'll come on to that. Actually, we've had a lot of landlords sell. So many landlords sell. We've got a generation of landlords that bought 20 years ago, 30 years ago, who are now reaching that retirement age where they can now pull out their pensions or take on their pensions and get money coming in each month for no hassle whatsoever. Whereas now they've got mortgage interest payments going up. If they've been on an interest only mortgage for the last sort of 20, 30 years, they've got potentially tenants who now can't afford to pay their rent because of the cost of living crisis and all sorts. So take one bit of advice: if you are renting at the moment and your rent is cheap, save, because you're going to need it at some point, whether you have to move into another rented property, it'll be a shock, or you end up buying a property. And my wife has just come back from a photo shoot, and she's not going to want to be in the live stream when she comes through that door. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Any questions, please feel free to drop me an email, lee@leeeverettproperty.co.uk. And I hope to be back at some point next week with another live stream. Until then, have a lovely weekend. I'll see you soon. Take care.